Hello and welcome to PSA's Let's Squawk About It. I'm PSA's Marketing Manager, Sam Schaefer, and today we're discussing natural feed additives and how they can serve to benefit poultry against major health concerns and disease. Our guest is Laura Corbett. Laura, welcome to the show. Why don't you give us a little information about yourself and what you do?
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for having me today. Hi everyone, I'm Laura Corbett and I'm Technical Product Manager for Anpario PLC. Anpario are an independent international manufacturer and distributor of natural animal feed additives for animal health, nutrition and biosecurity based in the UK. I've worked within the animal feed industry for nearly 10 years now within nutritionist and product manager roles, and actually joined Anpario nearly a year ago today to lead the poultry species product group with a particular focus on the research and development within the company, and to really help support our poultry customers across the world in finding solutions to their individual challenges.
Welcome to the show and congratulations on your nearly year anniversary.
Thank you.
So let's just dive right into some questions here, Laura. So obviously one of the differences between natural feed additives and manufactured feed additives is that they help with promoting all natural poultry. But aside from being natural, what are some of the benefits of using natural feed additives as opposed to their unnatural counterparts?
Yeah, so quite a big question there, Sam. But I think really it's worth mentioning first that the term natural feed additives, it's really an umbrella term, and it covers a range of different product classes. So within that, you've got prebiotics, organic acids, and your phytogenics, just to name a few. And really what I'd like to focus on are the natural essential oils, and they're really concentrated forms of the phytogenics. And they've got a really long history of use, especially in veterinary medicine and human medicine, of course. And benefits range from things like parasite protection through to disinfection, and that's without taking up the entire interview listing all of the benefits there. But to really come back to your question on the benefits of natural versus synthetic, that really comes back to the composition of that product. And we know that natural essential oils especially consist of multiple different active compounds. So if we look at natural oregano oil, for example, it contains over 100 active compounds, so it's very, very complex. And again, if we look at natural oregano oil especially, it's been really well studied scientifically, and because of its high number of actives, it has a really complex mode of action. If we look at the effects on the animal and the benefits, we've got things like stimulating feed intakes, antioxidant activity, which will help especially support the bird through periods of stress. We've got antimicrobial effects there to help support gut health. And again, they're just a few examples. So wide range of benefits we experience on farm when we've got natural oregano oil in the diet. And that's really down to that highly complex mixture of actives, which are only found in the natural sources. The multiple different actives as well do have an additive and synergistic effect compared to synthetic sources. So again, another advantage there above those synthetic sources. And if we compare that to synthetic sources again, they're often limited to a select few actives. So the benefits in the animals are typically fewer. For example, we've got trials that have shown that animals to have better feed conversion efficiency and growth performance when supplemented with a natural source of oregano oil compared to the equivalent amounts of the synthetic oils, which only contain one or two of those actives. And I think really just to add to this, there can be a lot of variability in the composition of the active compounds found in natural essential oils, even within the same species of plant. And that's really down to the variation in things like geography, soil conditions, altitude, climate, time of harvest, just really to name a few. And of course, from a buyer's perspective, that really creates a challenge. If we're wanting to purchase a consistent product, it doesn't really make for an easy decision, especially when you've got hundreds of different essential oil products on the market.
Yeah.
So whilst the natural oregano oil especially has multiple benefits, it's equally important that that oil is tested and manufactured to the highest quality standards to make sure you get that batch after batch consistency and then ultimately to support the consistent performance in the animal.
It's pretty interesting because when we agreed to have this discussion, essential oils is not what I was thinking, but it makes perfect sense. I mean, we use them ourselves for a variety of different things. So it's interesting to see that it's being used in diets here as well too. And you bring up a good point. Plants raised in different areas of the world would have a different composition. So definitely with sourcing that to make sure there's consistency probably is a pretty big challenge.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why really looking into where it's coming from and making sure that that quality is really up there, so you're getting that same product time and time again, is really, really important. So whilst all essential oils or oregano oils can appear the same on the surface, actually there's a lot of variation in the marketplace. So yeah, not an easy one really.
No, especially when you find out which ones work and then you find a different variation of it that doesn't work the same.
Exactly, yeah, definitely.
So moving on to a next question. When we think of using natural feed additives for poultry health and disease prevention, what are some specific diseases that come to mind and how do feed additives help?
Just to begin with, Anpario, we've conducted many trials in both research and commercial settings across the world. And time again, we've demonstrated the beneficial effects of our natural oregano oil product in poultry, as well as many other species. In terms of overall health and performance, oregano oil is classified as a natural flavouring compound. So we can help increase voluntary intakes, especially during times of stress. So that's just one of the benefits that we see. If we're thinking specifically poultry diseases, I'm sure the majority of us, the first thing that springs to mind is coccidiosis. It's up there, I think, with some of the top diseases that we see in poultry. And natural oregano oil has been extensively trialled in controlled challenge models, and it's really been shown to successfully support coccidiosis management programs. So things like improved body weight gain, feed conversion efficiency, reduced mortality, they've been recorded time and time again, especially in broilers and turkeys, supplemented with the natural oregano oil. Compared to the challenge control birds. It's quite interesting because the natural additive, it has been proven to reduce oocyst counts and gut lesion scores, which of course we associate with the coccidiosis, but it still actually allows the cycling of those oocysts to allow that bird to build up the natural immunity against the coccidia. And that's going to help minimize issues later in the production cycle, that's really where we get that big financial hit. I think one of the main things, obviously I'm touching on coccidiosis, is to remember that the natural oregano oil especially, it's used to support gut health, especially during those peak periods of the oocyst cycling, to allow the bird essentially to reach its genetic potential. And it's really important to point out that it's not an anticoccidial. So common misconception in the industry, and I think it's really important to remember that. It's really there to help maintain eubiosis, so a healthy and balanced gut microflora, good gut architecture, and most importantly, from a producer's perspective, that good feed conversion efficiency. And the way it can be used is a number of different ways within coccidiosis control programs, and that's really going to depend on that farm challenge. Just as a few examples, it can be used to help preserve the efficacy of anticoccidials within a rotation program to help minimize buildup of resistance there. Within bio-shuttle programs, it can also be used to support the development of immunity within the bird after vaccination. So again, just a different strategy of how it can be used. And we've also seen success with using it in antibiotic-free production systems to help reduce cases of necrotic enteritis and therefore the need for those antibiotic treatment interventions later on. So aside from coccidiosis, which obviously I've spoken a lot about, but it's kind of related, is we've got trials conducted over the last 16 years, which have shown an average feed conversion efficiency improvement of over 8 points in birds supplemented with the oregano oil. So 8 points, in terms of the financial benefits is going to have a really that good impact on the producer profitability. To touch on layers as well, laying hens, there's a whole load of work coming out there showing the benefits in the egg production cycle. One of the commercial studies that we've just completed recently has shown that hens supplemented with the oregano oil produced an extra 13 eggs compared to the control birds.
Oh, wow.
So again, if you've got 1 million birds, you know, that's a lot of eggs. So a huge difference there. As well as that, production of more saleable eggs, larger eggs and less peewees, improved feed conversion efficiency, peak lay performance, persistency of lay, and also improved egg production during early lay, which we know is a particular challenge when birds will typically produce smaller eggs. So we've seen larger eggs produced during that early laying period as well. And overall creating a really good return on investment for the egg producers.
It sounds like, you know, it's got a variety of uses here. I mean, we talked about gut health, we talked about, you know, disease prevention, and then the benefits for layers, the example you just provided is big too. So there's definitely a lot of uses in just like one product. But something that you had mentioned that I want to go back to is you talked about the argan oil being like a natural flavor and kind of helping with intake under stress. So I wondered if that in itself is also a contributing factor to the feed conversion efficacy, and if we could touch on that just real quick.
Yeah, definitely. So of course, it's a flavoring compound. The benefits really with the oregano oil come back to that improvement in gut health. So if we can improve the gut health, we can improve the feed conversion efficiency. And that's really going to impact on the profitability of that system. And I think from an environmental point of view, which, you know, is a hot topic now, that's really, you know, feed conversion efficiency really is a focus there for everybody involved. So the more obviously kilograms of meat or number of eggs or kilograms of protein we can produce, then that's going to be beneficial as well.
Is there a concern with using feed additives that are not natural, whether that concern is cost related to the end product, poultry, meat, or the efficacy of these feed additives?
So I think really the concerns really surround developing strategies that are sustainable. So I'd probably lean towards that, you know, keyword as such. Optimizing obviously animal protein production by using alternative sustainable natural products is not only going to benefit the animals themselves, but obviously the entire food supply chain, and obviously the human food safety. And one of the core areas we can really focus on, I think, as an industry is reducing the antibiotic use in animal production for a sustainable future. And as a company, that really is a key focus for Anpario. So I've spoken a lot about obviously coccidiosis, and we already know there are concerns around preserving the efficacy of the limited anticoccidial products, and the implementation of the shuttle and rotation programs in the poultry industry, it really has helped slow down that resistance, but we know there are still issues there. Where we're finding the efficacy is already reduced, use of natural products such as your oregano oil within these existing control programs can really help contribute towards extending the efficacy of these products, whilst of course reducing reliance on the antibiotic treatments needed to lower that flock mortality. And not only is this going to benefit the no antibiotic ever producers by minimising the issues of having to exit these programs at the end, but also the global concerns around antibiotic resistance in humans as well. So I think that's a huge area, definitely. Just to summarise that question, yes, there are concerns around synthetic and chemical products, and the more natural, sustainable products we can use, and that's not only going to benefit producer, but also there's that contribution towards the global sustainability goals as well.
I do see the concerns that you're addressing, and I apologize. I did frame the question kind of like if there was a cost concern, but that is obviously not really the concern, making sure these birds maintain their health, and as well as the sustainability that you mentioned too. So I apologize for phrasing that as a cost question.
No, that's fine. No.
But those are definitely good points of concern and things to consider in the future and in future research.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Laura. Well, that's all for today. So thank you so much for joining us for Let's Squawk About It. We appreciate having you on the segment.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. I really enjoyed it, and thanks for having me. Hopefully you'll have me back.
Absolutely.